Yeah, after we'll just have like a little chit chat.
Sounds great.
Sometimes it's like, something that came up um, in the show, or I'll definitely ask you like, hey, how can people like get a hold of you, and if they want information and classes or anything like that.
Oh yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. What does your flag say behind you?
So yeah, I just put this up yesterday. This is from when P. Graf went to Edinburgh and did a solid month at the Edinburgh Fringe. And so we were flyering every day for our show, and we very quickly realized we needed something more than just flyers to hand out. So Casey free-handed the improvised plays from Austin, Texas, and then Valerie spent a day like knitting yarn into it. So we bought some burlap from a store. So I've had this since 2011, and I just found it in a box and like hung it up.
Oh wow, that's cool, man.
A little bit of troop history, yeah.
Well, that's sweet. It looks good. It looks good as a background.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a little wrinkly. It's slowly unfurling itself. I dig it, and it's somewhat appropriate right now since people could be watching from literally anywhere.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's great. I love it. All right, so pick a number, my friend, 1 to 12.
Okay, let's go for 7.
It comes from our friend Jonathan. Well, you might know Jonathan. He's over in the UK. Fat soluble is the suggestion.
Okay, sounds good.
Man, sushi's good.
Yeah, surprisingly good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going into this, I'm like, I'll give it a try. And then I started thinking, what do I have coming up just in case I got sick, right? I'm like,
yeah.
But it's really good.
You're not going to get sick. If that happened, these restaurants would be shut down, man. The first time I ever had sushi was in college, like 6 years ago. And my friend, he convinces me to try it. And I've never had raw anything in my life. And he hands it to me. And as I'm eating it, I'm thinking like, this is all right. He says, that's raw fish in your mouth. And I like nearly gagged and just almost spewed it all out right there, but I choked it down, and I was like, what a thing to do to a person.
Wow. So it was like a surprise meal.
Yeah. I mean, I knew what I was getting into, and I'd psyched myself up for it, but I wasn't thinking, I was trying not to think about the fact that I was eating raw fish, and he called it out as I was doing it.
It's like bringing someone to a meal and they're having veal, and right before you eat, it's like, that's Bambi.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's something I can't get over. I don't eat veal for that reason.
Oh yeah. You can't put like an image to it, right?
Yeah. You can't. Man, It is so good to see you.
It is. You know what? Like, I'm going to come on and say, it's been too long. It's been too long.
It's been too long. We don't live that far apart from each other, It's one thing to lose track of friends over time, but it's another thing to lose track of your brother. There's no excuse for it.
I'm not even going to try and make an excuse. I was thinking about it. My first thought is, I'm going to tell you why. And there's no reason. There's no excuse needed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, me too. Either of us could have reached out.
Life happens. And then what you do is you get so focused on something that you forget what the important thing is.
Yeah.
You forget that's what it's all about. Like, this is what it's all about, man.
Hey, man, I know you're not like one for spicy things.
No, not. You know me.
I know you're not, but you have to try the wasabi here because it's not just colored horseradish. They fly that shit in from Japan every single night. It comes in on a plane. It's the real deal. It's from Japan. It'll change your life. You'll probably hate it, but then you can tell people I've had real wasabi. So I'm just putting that out there. Maybe psych yourself up for it by the end of the meal,
All right. You know what? Now's the time. I'm going to try it. I'm not a spicy guy.
All right.
I like things very bland, more on the bland side than adventurous, but okay. All right. I'm going to try some. Oh, I know it's like a little bit, even a tiniest bit really gets to me. So let me try.
It kind of goes, it's not really like a burning thing. It kind of goes up your nostril, if that makes it okay. All right. You didn't have to take the whole thing in your mouth. See, this is what I add to your life, bro. Tom, this feeling you're feeling right now, that's what me in your life is like. Yeah. Drink up and I'll join you. Don't you feel alive?
I mean, it's my nostrils, my sinuses have never been clearer right now.
Yeah, so clear. So clear.
You are the spice. You're the spice, man. You're the spice of my life. My life is pretty boring.
It's not boring. Man, you went a different way. Two kids you can be proud of. You can cheer them on at, T-ball. Look at me, man. I've got an RV.
I mean, the fact that you just are like, I'm going off the grid, and you said you're going to sell all your possessions. I was like, all your possessions? You're like, I'm selling all my possessions.
You know what?
That's it.
It was hard at first.
Yeah.
Like the first round of like, hey, I'm sorry, bro. The first round of like, hey, does anyone need a TV? Does anyone need a couch? Stuff like that. That was hard, but oddly enough, it's the sentimental stuff, the stuff that I had been carting around since junior high. By the time I got to that, it was easy. It was like, I have committed to this choice, and these old photos, these old boxes, these trophies I was holding on to. I never cared about basketball. Dad just wanted me to be good at it, so I was,
Yeah.
And
doing it for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's why I haven't talked to you in so long. It's just tied up in Dad. Wow. He was always like, family first. Family's everything.
That's all you got. Family's up, boys. Family's all you got.
Yeah,
and I was like,
boys is family.
You don't like your family.
Yeah.
Like, you shut your mouth. Family's all you have. That's the most important thing.
And so for the longest time, whenever I thought about calling you, I would just hear his voice, And I don't like to speak ill of the dead, but like, he fucked me up in a lot of ways.
Why can't we? Here's the question. Why can't we speak ill of the dead? I never understood that saying. We should be able to speak ill of the dead, especially if they were just jerks.
Yeah, fuck the dead, right?
Right.
I mean, what are they? Are they gonna complain? No.
No, and it's like this. It's this thing where when people are terrible on earth, you can't talk about them, and then when they die, there's supposed to be some sort of respect and reverence for those people. But it's like, but what if they were all jerks in the first place? Why do we have to be nice to them? Why do we have to pay tribute to people who still have it still has a lasting effect on you? Yeah,
man. See, you have some of that fire.
Oh,
that's not a bland man talking right now.
No, I'm raging. And here's the other thing, Pete. Here's the other thing.
Yeah.
When you started giving your stuff away, you know what we thought? You know what all of us thought? Our first thought. You know what it was?
You thought I was crazy or depressed, or it was a midlife crisis, something like that?
We thought you were going to kill yourself because you're like,
Jesus.
Well, think about it. You go, hey, who wants my TV? Who wants my computer? I mean, you were a programmer for years. And so when you did that was everyone's first thought. And I was like, I don't think so. I think like if that was the case, I think you would have reached out to me if it was like that. So I didn't think that you were going to kill yourself.
I don't want to make light of this, but if I were going to kill myself, it'd be way more dramatic than that. Everyone would know about it.
You would
I'd have a 100-page manifesto, and you'd all have gotten a copy of it in your inbox. No, you know what was killing me? Dell Computer was killing me day by day, inch by inch.
And like, I respected that. As soon as you went off the grid, I was like, man, he's doing it. That's a brave move, man. It's a brave move to go, I'm done.
You know what the ridiculous thing is? It's not even that brave. Like, I got in right at the .com boom. I didn't have any attachments. I dumped all my money into a 401k. Yeah. Dell matched it. Like, I've got a solid retirement, and I haven't worked a solid job, now for 8 years. I have a safety net. It's like, I don't think that it was fair that I was compensated what I was, but I'll take it,
Hey, you know what they say? Like, I don't deserve it, but I ain't going to turn it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, man. Do you miss any part of that life? Do you miss any part of it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do. there's a security and regularity, you know. I knew where I had to be every day, and I knew that people were looking for me. And there are, weeks where I get in a funk and it's just me,
Mm.
and I'm not reaching out to anyone, and there's no one checking on me, and I could be dead and no one would know. Like if I hadn't called you last week and instead had died,
Yeah.
how long would it be before someone in the family thought, I wonder if something is wrong with Pete?
Well, I mean, shit, nobody heard from you for 4 years. And so I don't know. I mean, I want to say, oh, we would have really known right away. But honestly, I think it might have been a while. I think people might have assumed that you were like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And nobody would have thought that you had died. They would have just thought that you were completely off the grid.
I think eventually my phone would stop working, and those group family text messages that go out, it would have gotten something bounced back, and then you would have been like, something's wrong with Pete.
But honestly, think about it. We probably would have said, he's totally going off the grid now.
Yeah.
Hey,
have you? The serious question: How do you feel about eel?
Okay.
Because we've got unagi,
right?
And you've already had wasabi, so
I'll give it a shot. I mean, my tongue is still burning, man.
No, eel doesn't burn. That you're thinking of electric eels, and that's only when they're alive, and that's not the kind of eel that's used in unagi anyway.
Then I'm gonna hit this up.
Great.
Hey, it's good seeing you, man.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's something, all right.
Yeah. It's the eel sauce that's raw eel in your mouth.
I'm gonna get some more water. When the server comes around, ask for some more water.
I will. You just linger in that taste for a while.
Scene.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, how fun was that?
That was super fun. A lot of that was autobiographical.
Dude, I find the older I get, man, the more I'm just pulling stuff from my own life.
Yeah. Maybe I should just step behind the curtain and reveal. So I love my. I have no issue with my dad. That was all. Out of the scene came out of our relationship. But I worked at IBM for 11 years, and I worked there for too long, and it was killing me day by day. It was a fine job, but I wasn't suited for it.
Yeah.
And that story, the first time I had sushi, my friend saying, "That's raw fish in your mouth." That was straight up. That really happened.
Oh my God.
What a jerk.
Oh man. To me, it's that thing of like, tell me what I'm going to have.
Yeah.
I'll still have it, but don't do this surprise stuff on me where it's like, hey, guess what? That's actually this. Like, don't do that to me, because it's a trust thing.
Yeah.
Now I can't trust you anymore.
My dad would do that all the time because he hunts deer, and he would basically trick my sisters into eating deer meat and then would tell them after the fact.
No.
Actually, if you think about it, it's more ethical, but just imagining, the deer, and that my dad had a personal hand in killing it, would trip them up.
You're down in Austin.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're like me. I think we're both excited to see what's happening now moving forward with this whole online and virtual improv situation. Like, how are you digging what's going on?
And I love it. I don't have any reservations about it. Like, people are like, it's a totally different art form, or it's not the same. I think it's kind of the same.
Right?
There's obvious differences, but what I've been telling everyone who's either not done it yet or has tried it and didn't feel that connection is you have to do at least three shows. Do 3 shows, and then you'll fall into the groove. I mean, you've done like over 100 of these 10-minute shows now. So I don't know if you feel similarly, but after about the 3rd show, I started feeling, I'm connecting, I'm having fun, I'm getting lost in the scene work. Yep. It's totally fine. The thing that I've found that's different is like the way you play with each other and mess with each other. Like, just like literally, like I can mess with the frame of the camera and, or like draw things. Like in our shows lately, we've been just drawing things very quickly and being like, there goes a horse. So like the mischief, the way people like, the way you demonstrate that you're having a good time on stage, which is we call the second show sometimes, is different. The second show is people on stage having a good time, and so the way you demonstrate that online can be a little bit different. But what do you think? Do you think it's a different art form? Do you feel like it's?
Well, I mean, I think you're right on with like, you do it a couple times and then you're like, okay, cool, I get it. And then it's subtle things like, oh, look, even though you're on the screen, I got to look into the camera. So I got to use my soft focus more.
Yeah.
But I can still see what you're doing. And when I listen, I can still hear that. And you kind of check in. I think in a way it's different because it's, it's just this virtual thing. But in a lot of ways, it's like you said, it's very similar. It's still doing the element of give and take and connecting. And I found that, I love the idea of drawing the horse, or like my friend David Escobedo used like a toilet paper roll to like make a tunnel. So then looking through it. So I
use these guys a lot. I'll be like spying on scenes as they happen.
I did this exercise today where it's like one of you, like I would be a cop and I'd be hauling you in and I'm like, hey, we found your bag. And then it's like, tell us what this is doing there. And then you just justify all of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
we strangle each other a lot. We slap each other. Yeah.
We did one. Yeah. I played with my buddy Ken today and he was like, he had a splinter in his finger and he's like, oh, we don't have a tweezer. You got to suck it out. So then I was like getting really close to the camera, sucking out the splinter. I mean, it's just, I look at it like it's this or nothing. So why not look at this? And I know both you and I are interested also in like the virtual reality stuff and like the AI and what the next phase is for that. And for me, it's these are all opportunities. Like when we get back to familiar, we're still going to have stage shows at some point.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be there, but this is now an added bonus. So you and I would not have a chance to play unless we were in the same city at the same time. And we happened to be at a theater and there was a chance, there was a show opening or things like that. But now it's like, I could just reach out to you and say, hey, let's come on and do this. And, I'm finding it so exciting because there are so many people who our paths have crossed, but we've never got a chance to play together. So I'm like, great, why not do it now?
Yeah, speaking of do it now, that's the title of P. Graff's book.
Really?
Yeah. We wrote a book on narrative improv. It's called Do It Now, and it's essays on our thoughts on improv. It's short, it's big print, it's an easy read.
Well, and you say P. Graff, but please tell the actual name of your group.
Yeah, it's Parallelogram Phonograph.
Yeah. I saw you all in Barcelona.
Right.
In 2016, was it? 15?
Yeah, I'm bad with dates, but something like that. We did our French farce, yeah.
Yeah, and it was mind-blowing. Like, I really enjoyed it. I'll never forget seeing that show. There were that show, the Neo Plus One show, and the Maydays all were shows to me that were like, those stack up in the top shows I've ever seen in improv.
Yeah, I mean, I love Neil and I love the Maydays. We have a really strong connection with the UK improv scene, so we love all those folks.
Well, it's so good because like you all do like genre and narrative improv, and for some reason, I don't know why, but the whole idea of doing story, some purists have opinions about that, and I'm like, man, story's what makes movies. Story's like easy to follow. I love doing narrative improv.
I don't want to be, yes, I have so many thoughts on this, Jay. Obviously, we wrote some of them down in our book, but yeah, it's ridiculous. Story drives everything that we do. Even if you're not doing a narrative show and you're just doing a montage of random scenes, each one of those scenes is a story. You can't help it. It's how your brain is wired.
Yep.
And then when you do narrative shows, a lot of times if people come from a tradition that doesn't value narrative or storytelling in their improv, then the way they get around it is by, I'm just going to play a character and play true to my character and their wants, and we'll let that drive the story. And it's such a hand wavy. It's like you can do that, but it makes one type of story happen where everyone has equal weight and there's not a single through line. And once you just embrace like, no, I'm gonna actually improvise a story, and we're gonna work as an ensemble to do that.
Yeah.
It becomes so much fun, and it can be just as intuitive or instinctual as improvising any other improv form. In fact, sometimes it's easier because we have a lifetime of story experiences in our brain, and if you just trust those instincts, you can follow them. Also, it's really fun to be in a narrative show and not be the main character, because then you get to play a billion other characters that drive the story forward.
I mean, storytelling is like basic human communication since the beginning of time.
Yeah. So, maybe acknowledge that every once in a while.
Well, I mean, dude, you all like are killing it. And like, I think, I looked at, you have a continual slate of classes happening right now.
Yeah.
And it's great. You all are down at the Hideout, and it's really amazing to see all the different types of classes you're offering right now. They are so niche.
Yeah.
That it just appeals like whatever kind of improv you want to do, there's a class for you happening right now that you could take from anywhere in the world.
Yeah, it's so incredible. I mean, there's just so much on offer. And we originally just started continuing our regular level classes, for our local community. And I was like, look, there are so many people internationally right now that are just looking to make the best of a bad situation. And they're literally bouncing around from theater to theater and signing up for workshops. So I was like, we do theatrical narrative style improv that's in our bones. We come from a Johnstone basis originally, but that's not the be all end all of who we are. So like, let's offer some short digestible workshops where people can get a taste of the type of stuff we do. I'm teaching one tomorrow on like story spine and the beginnings of improvising a narrative. And, that's a good time.
My friend, it's so funny because I've worked with groups before that try to do narrative improv or genre improv, but don't know what the story spine is or how a story is laid out. And you're like, wow, you're making this real hard. Like, just first understand the structure of what a story is, and then you're able to apply that, and it becomes real easy. That's your guide as you go.
And the story spines, it's like an 8-step like model that Ken Adams fleshed out in How to Improvise a Full-Length Play. But like, it's not even a form. You mainly use it as a diagnostic tool after the fact to be like, what went wrong with our show? Oh, we skipped past the once upon a time and every day part of the story. We went right into the chain of causal events, in the middle. Because like, it's really just a map of how stories have naturally fallen. And then we're like, okay, this is how all stories kind of work. But you're right. People make things way too hard on themselves. We did it when we first started in 2005. We knew we wanted to do narrative improv. No one was doing it in Austin, and no one knew how to tell us how to do it. So we just went for it with trial and error. And we did we called it 6 Degrees, but it was basically a La Ronde as our opening kind of format for doing narrative. Yeah. And that was remarkably ill-suited for telling stories. But we didn't know. We did it for a long time, and we learned a lot. And then we slowly picked up stuff here and there and learned how to do it better.
Oh, it's so inspiring. Like that show, and talking to you, like we've crossed paths a couple times, and like we were on a panel together, and then seeing that show, and it was like, I think inspiring is a good word for you, man, because like you're doing some things that are just inspiring so many people, and I know people think very highly of you, and you're such a respected performer and teacher, and like I think part of our job is to continue, is to continue to inspire, and you're doing that, and you're doing that by like you're talking about well, that was terrible, but we learned something from it.
Yeah.
Now we'll make it better.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, early on, that was our whole, we would come up with new genres to perform in based on what we were bad at. So we did a show called Family Portrait, which was about like just modern Americana, like people who like each other, because we weren't playing like realistic people. And then that trained us to do that. And we did a show called Villainy that were centered around a really bad person who was like the antagonist or the anti-hero.
Yeah.
And we were bad at playing bad people because we wanted to be liked on stage. So and then we did a screwball comedy, romantic comedy, because we were bad at being romantic on stage.
Oh, wow.
And what we found is that doing any of those very specific genres, it bleeds into your everyday ungenred, unformed improv. And so you basically train these very, very specific skills that you then have in your tool belt, which is really sweet.
Man, where can people, when they want to reach out, follow you on social media or take classes? Like, where can they go?
Yeah. So since they're probably watching this on Facebook, we're just, PGraph is at facebook.com/PGraph, PGRAPH. I'm normally watching the chat room at the same time, so I would be pasting all these links, but I'm not doing that for once. I'm also with the Hideout Theatre, and you can find that on Facebook as well. But we're also at hideouttheater.com, and you can spell that with an ER or an RE. It's your choice.
Dang, yeah,
we got both domains. We spell it with an RE because that's how it was when we bought it. And it's still that way. But yeah, we have workshops every single day at the Hideout Theatre, and you can sign up for them. And they're like an hour and a half, and right now they're $10 US, which is way too cheap. That'll be going up, but right now we wanted to prime the pump, so they're cheaper. And yeah, PGraph performs we do an improv Q&A on Wednesday afternoons. We do a show on Thursday nights. We do a show on Saturday nights, and we normally do a show on Sunday afternoons as well. So, yeah.
Wow, that's great. I'm going to put all that information. I'll tag the theater. I'll tag all of that. Put that in this video here. And I put these also I put up on YouTube as well. So I'll add that to all of that. Yeah. Oh man, so fun, dude. I can't wait to play with you again. It was awesome.
Yeah. Nice. It was super easy and super fun.
Yeah. All right, Roy. Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.